Hi guys, welcome back to this amazing YouTube channel. How you guys doing? Hope you guys are good. So if this is your first time coming across the channel, do well to subscribe, click on notification bell to get notified whenever a new video is being posted. So in today's video, this is what we'll be working on today: how to make how to make this beautiful, amazing dress you just saw. So we'll start by folding our material into two as always. Any clothes you're cutting, it must be unfolded. Okay, so we'll start by folding our material into two, just the way you see me doing. So our material is unfolded, and if you guessed right, we'll start inserting our measurements. First of all, what I did here is to mark my starting line, which is here, because the clothes were not equal for me to start from the top, so I had to mark that starting line, and I inserted my shoulder measurement. After inserting my shoulder measurement, shoulder measurement divided into two, right? I inserted my armhole measurement down there. After my armhole measurement, what I did next was to insert my bust measurement and my allowance to it. So after inserting it, can you notice the allowance, the excess cloth that will waste there? I don't need to waste any of this material, so I had to bring back my material, like drag it down and clean my shoulder, the initial shoulder I inserted, and my armhole measurement. I have to clean it and start from the top. So that's what I just did. I cleaned it up in order not to confuse you. So now I had to take my shoulder line again, shoulder line divided into two. Then I went down for my armhole measurement, then my bust measurement, then my bust, I'll be inserting my bust measurement, and then my sewing allowance. Even at this point, the allowance there is still too much, but I just had to let go. Let me not confuse you guys. So I went down to get my waist measurement and the full length of the gown, where I want the upper part, this blue part, to stop. That is what I inserted. So if you're making yours, you have to determine the length of the upper part first before the down part, that is before adding the down part. So the next thing I did here was to insert my waist measurement with my additional sewing allowance. At this down part, I inserted her hip measurement with sewing allowance. Remember, all these things are being divided into two, except the shoulder, into four, except the shoulder that is being divided into two. So this is it. Then at this down part, it has a curve at the down part. So that's what I'm just doing. You just curve it down there. You just curve it down there and curve your hip line also. You don't have to mark it straight. Just the way I marked it, that's how you do it. Then now I'm cutting it off. So this is me cutting it. Sewing dresses like this are quite easy because the measurements you need is your shoulder, bust, and all these things. Making a dress for a baby, a child. So now I want to insert my neck with it, the width and the depth of the neck I'll be working with. So I just did 3 with it, and the down part is also, and the depth of the neck is also 3. I went down by 3 inches. So after doing this, what I just did was to fold the back part and place this front part on it. I placed it on it, and just what you see me do right now, I placed it and cut it out. So that's my zipper allowance. I'm opening up that place, and the back neck part, I just came down by 1 inch there. So this place I marked is where my belt will be, at the waistline. So I have to notch there to remember, and that belt will be placing it at the front part of the clothes. I'll be placing my belt at the front part of the clothes. So now I folded this material so that I will use it to cut out for the interfacing for the neck part interface. It will serve as bias though. So I just folded it and placed my front part, and that's what I will also do at the back. Fold my material, place my my material on it to get my round neck interface. I be round neck part. I don't know, but you should understand what I'm saying here. So this is it. Now this is how to cut a sleeve. It's very easy. You start by, I would have folded it into two. I would have cut it out at once, but the material won't be enough to cut at once. So I just marked the length of my sleeves. Then I'll come down by 3 inches there. It's either you come down by 3 or 4 inches. Then you from that upper part where you marked, you connect it down to this 3 inches place you came down. This part you came down by 3 inches. You just make a curve there. Then the next thing I'm doing is to insert my arm measurement, my round arm measurement. That is what I just did. So even this part, the same thing. You insert your arm round arm measurement. After that, you cut it. It's very easy to cut a sleeve. I don't think I've shown how to cut a sleeve. That's why I added this here. Just your actual sleeve measurement, and then you go down at the other side by 3 or 4 inches and make a curve to meet that 3 or 4 inches you went in by this area. Now it's just as easy as that. I have to place this and cut out the second sleeves as well. So after cutting out my sleeve, I went over to my down part, the down part of the gown, which is this material. We'll be using it as a down part, as you've already seen her in the video where she wore it. So this will serve as the down part. I minused my 18 inches, the actual inches of the first part I cut to get her full length. I minused 18 inches to get the full length of the dress I'll be working with, and after that I'll just have to cut it open. That is, I'll cut it open at the top and then join it together to close the sides. Now we are now over to our machine. I will sew this round neck, the interface I cut for the neck part. I'll sew it like this, then I'll give it a notch. Why am I giving it this notch? Is for it to stay well. Like, I will top stitch on that, not on the main material, on this interface. I'll top stitch on it so that it will sit well, it will balance properly. You won't have any rough sewing or something. After doing it, you iron it properly. At this point I've not ironed it, there was no light. So now I did the same at the back. As you can see, what I'm doing here is to insert my back dart measurement. I placed my tape from my shoulder down to that 10 inches area, and here I'm measuring. I came in by 5 inch there. Why is it 5 inch? Because I started at the tip of my zipper. If I had minus my zipper allowance, it would have been 4 or 4.5 thereabouts. So this is it, and then I will sew it like this in a slant form. I'll sew it slightly in a slant form. So this is what I just did. I'll do the same at the front part of this dress. I'll insert my dart at the front part of this dress. So I placed my tape at my shoulder, and then at the shoulder of the dress, and then measured, came down by 10, and the same measurement from this side to my to 4.5. I made 4.5 there. Then I marked it. I made 4 inches there rather, and then I marked it and sewed it. This is how it came out. Then here I'm joining the shoulder of the front part and the down shoulder of the front. I'm joining it together. So this is me folding my sleeve, hemming my sleeve. I'll be sewing my sleeve inside, like hemming it. So this is it. I have a notch at that midpoint of my sleeve. I have a notch at the midpoint of my sleeve because that's how I do it, so that it will be easy for me to know the center part of my sleeve while attaching it to the clothes. So this is how I make my own sleeves. I'll sew it down. I'll start from that place I notched to sew it down to this side. After sewing this part, I will then turn it over to the other side, this side now. I'm done sewing that part. Now I will start sewing it from this side as well. I don't start from the tip of the other side, sew it to the no. I start at the center part to sew it this side and the other side. That's how I do it. And there are other ways to make a sleeve. You can close your material the both sides before attaching your sleeve. So whichever pattern that works for you is fine. Whichever one you can work with. I do the both. So I decided to do this type in this channel today. So this is the belt I talked about. I've attached it at the front part of the material, not at the back part. Then while sewing, you put the belt inside of the front part, inside. You will not bring it out. If not, you won't see your belt at the end of the day. So I inserted my actual measurements and sewed it, closed the both side, and this is it. I have fixed my zip. This is the down part we talked about. I made a little gather there. I'm done sewing it at this point. I've gone ahead to lock it, that's to weave it as well. So this is how it came out. So nice. So that is it about this beautiful dress. This is how it's looking so pretty, right? So try and make this for your child or for yourself. The only difference there is for you to make use of your own measurements. So bye guys. If you find this video helpful, please don't forget to subscribe and share as well. Like my videos. Bye bye.